achy feet? Does your work require you to do many hours of standing? And how does aging relate to our feet? Well, Dr. Paul Langer is my guest tonight, and we are talking about aging feet. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Diana, for having me.
You've been on my list for a long time to come join us because, and I'm going to let our audience know, you are a board-certified podiatrist practicing with Twin Cities Orthopedics. You are the author of Great Feet for Life, Foot Care and Footwear for Healthy Aging, and I interviewed you when that book came out. You're an adjunct clinical faculty member at the University of Minnesota Medical School, and then I personally saw you for plantar fasciitis, which I had pain in the arch a couple of years ago, and so you fixed it, and thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad that I helped you, and I'm glad you remembered. You were nice enough to flag me down.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about aging feet, and you said there's actually 3 different things that people come to you past the age of 50. I suppose it's any range, but that's our audience, and that's who's tuning in. So
yeah.
You said the number 1 is skin and nail changes.
Yeah, and all of these actually kind of go together because after age 25 is when physiologic and physical changes actually start to decline, so it happens earlier than we might think. Mm-hmm. But if you look at some of the studies that try to quantify what are the biggest problems with foot and ankle as people get older, skin and nail complaints are most common. So our skin gets thinner, gets less elastic, it gets drier, and then we also develop bony prominences because our soft tissue changes and toe alignment changes. And then also we get some dryness and changes to our nails as well. So the skin changes are partly related just to the aging of the skin, but also related to aging of bones, joints, soft tissue, and tendons. And for example, the cushioning or the fat pad on the bottom of our foot, that starts to shrink after age 25, which means you have less padding on the bones of your feet. And then those bones will get pressure and your skin will defend itself from that pressure by building up a callus. So the soft tissue changes around the skin also contribute to these skin changes that sometimes cause pain and frustration as we get older.
Now when I have a pedicure, the person who does it always really gets out that file and really nails the back of my heel, and she's really getting rid of that callus. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's not bad. You do have to manage it, right?
Okay.
So if the callus gets too thick, it does get painful. It does get more brittle. It can crack even. So yeah, you have to manage the thickness of it. You have to use moisturizers to help keep it softer from getting too thick too. So yes, it's one of those things, and a lot of my patients will ask, well, can't you just cut that callus off and have it go away? Well, not really, because it's a symptom of something else, right? So you actually have to manage it. So using good shoes, trying to decrease pressure on the bottom of the foot, supporting the foot well, wearing what's comfortable, but then also using lotions and maybe pedicures, manicures to manage things like that can help.
Then you say toe and foot alignment changes. So I know women have hammer toes.
Yeah.
And so is that what we're talking about here?
It is, yeah. So hammer toes are common in males and females, and bunions as well. And this relates to what we've already talked about, changes in range of motion of our joints, changes in elasticity of our soft tissue, muscles, and tendons. And so those changes combined with decades of footwear use start to cause muscle imbalances that eventually lead to our toes to change alignment. And so that change in alignment can be painful inside of a shoe, and it can also make it more difficult to fit shoes.
So a hammer toe, is that when the toes start to curl, or do they start to go sideways?
Yeah, they start to curl for the most part. So it starts out as a muscle imbalance, and usually the toe contracts in this plane. And then when it does that, the top of the toe can get rubbed, and the bottom of the toe can get pressure. And so that's where they become symptomatic or painful.
Okay, so I've also seen people who've had, is it rods inserted into their toes to try and straighten them out?
Yeah.
Is that what I've seen?
Yeah, so if it's painful enough where they cannot find comfort or pain relief by changing shoes, then we surgically straighten them. So we remove a small piece of bone and use a wire or a rod to hold it straight while it heals. So that's a last resort. Not everybody needs hammer toe surgery, but it is an option if you're having trouble fitting into shoes or being active because of the pain.
And then you say arthritis. So that runs in my family, but that's not what I had in my feet.
No, I think you had something else back then, but yeah, each of our feet has 33 joints. And so if you think about it, most of us take 3,000 to 10,000 steps a day for decades and decades, right? So it's actually very natural for us to develop arthritis. And osteoarthritis is the most common type. It's the wear and tear type of arthritis. So if you start to develop pain, swelling, stiffness in your feet, usually it's going to be a few key joints that tend to get that arthritis. The big toe joint is actually the most common joint to get arthritis in the foot. So in those instances, we do, the good news is we can make footwear changes to help protect those joints. Unfortunately, we cannot cure arthritis, but most people do reasonably well if we have the right type of support and right type of footwear to help them compensate for the stiffness and pain that goes along with arthritis.
Okay, so you brought an example with you of kind of, a good shoe that you would recommend for a lot of people. But let's also talk about the 3D, orthotic inserts that are coming out now.
Yeah, so we've been able to make custom insoles and orthotics for many decades now, but new technology is coming along where we can actually scan your foot with really detailed, precise instruments, and even iPad scanners are getting better and better. So I can capture the shape of your foot with a scanner in my clinic, and then from that scan, we can create a 3D model of your foot. And then from that model, we can actually make an insole or an orthotic that's contoured right to the shape. So this is a 3D printed orthotic to the shape of someone else's foot, obviously, but it's laid down in layers that are just tenths of a millimeter thick to support and contour right to a person's foot.
Wow.
So right now we can make an insole like that. We can also make a sandal where this footbed here has been contoured right to someone's foot, and then of course there's some finishing work done. And we're getting closer to be able to make shoes.
Wow.
So this is kind of the early part of it. In 5 to 10 years, 3D printing technology for customization of footwear will be more available and better and faster. Right now it actually takes 2 hours to print the midsole of a pair of orthotics or sandals. And then you have to do the finishing work. So it's still slow, but the materials are getting better, and as printing gets better, it'll be more affordable and accessible for everybody to have custom shoes. Like this shoe here, it doesn't even have a size on it. It's no size. It's the size of the person it was made for.
Oh, wow.
And if you have a foot that's different left and right, and pretty much all of us do,
Okay.
then the length, the width, the volume, the arch can all be customized to each foot individually.
Oh, interesting. Because mine, I've got like a 9.5 on one foot, and I've
Yeah.
got a 9 on the other. So we always buy the extra larger size and then put everything inside of it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what'll be nice too, Diana, is that once that's done, once your foot's been scanned, you don't even necessarily have to go back to a store to order new shoes anymore.
Wow.
Now there's a model of your foot in the cloud, and that can be used to make your next pair of insoles, orthotics, or shoes.
Oh, man. So people who are watching this are going to be calling you instantly as soon as they find out that that's possible.
Yeah, well, and I do have this in clinic,
Okay.
but I'm also working with some companies that are starting to move into the footwear realm with it as well. So yeah, so it's early in the technology, but it's going to be awesome. This will be so good for comfort, for pain relief, and then for fitting our feet as they change through our lifetime.
Wow, that's really cool. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Here,
you.
let's put this number up on the screen, 952-456-7777. That's a general number at Twin Cities Orthopedics.
Yeah, it might be 7,000.
Oh, is it? Okay, because this is what I got off their website
Did
today.
you? Okay, we do have a few different numbers. So,
Okay.
So that should get us there. But Twin Cities Orthopedics is easy to find on the web too, with
okay.
our numbers and contact information there as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And so I know that a lot of people have achy feet. They're going to be coming to see you really soon. Thank you.
Thank you.